Alrighty, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the walk around. If you are new here, a walk around is where we essentially take a bike, and it is obviously one of the bikes that we are selling, but let's say for example you are a buyer, you want to get a little bit of extra information, you want to get a better look at the bike. That's pretty much what these are for. Now, some of you might know me, I go by Big Red. I do all of the reviews for Dewet&Bikes, and I review all of their bikes, making sure everything runs properly and all of those sorts of wonderful things. I've reviewed a lot of bikes, I've ridden a lot of bikes, so I've got a very decent idea of what we are dealing with. With that being said guys, today we have a 2009 Suzuki GSX-R 1000. Now this one in particular is selling for 109,900, and I will pop the kilos up on the screen for you guys so that you can get a nice idea of what the mileage is like on this absolute beauty. And on that note, we're going to talk about the looks first. And what I can say is that this is definitely a one-of-a-kind Suzuki 1000. I've never seen anything like it with these color combos and with everything that we've got going on. There's quite a few modifications, which we will get onto, but yeah, as I said, we just want to talk about the looks first. Now you will notice that this blue and white is stock. Actually, I'm not too sure on the white, but I know for a fact the blue is stock, and these little bits of black and yellow and orange, they've all been added to the bike. And again, as I said, it's very unique. This is a one-of-a-kind kind of bike, and they did an absolutely awesome job with putting this thing together and making everything work together. One of my highlights on this bike is definitely the exhaust. However, as I said, we'll get onto that when we start talking about the modifications and all of those sorts of things. A very well balanced bike. It's also got a nice low profile. I love how it all comes together. You know, it's not one of those. It's nothing like the S1000. It's almost a polar opposite. It's a little bit more smoother on the edges. You know, especially when you come and looking at the front of the bike over here, even down to the tail. You've got your edges, but they're not as sharp. But they're not round to the point where, you know, the bike kind of looks like a big ball on wheels. So, huge fan of this generation. Obviously, Suzuki didn't do too much in terms of cosmetic adjustments over the years. I think only recently they've started making some major changes with the tail and the winglets and the headlights. But yeah, all in all, stunning looking bike. Very, very well put together, very well thought. You know, they put a lot of thought into this thing when they were building it, so I can appreciate that, and I can appreciate the time and the effort that went into making this thing look how it looks, and it looks absolutely awesome. Now moving on from the looks to the modifications, because it's something that I'm going to end up touching on while I'm talking about other things, and I don't want to have to repeat myself. So first things first guys, is these aftermarket brake discs. I've never seen anything like this before. These are the first brake discs that I've seen like this, and I'm a huge fan. It looks absolutely awesome. It kind of looks like flames. Super nice. We've got some very nice rim tape over there. Kind of a modification, you know, call it what you want. A big one is steel braided lines. Now obviously these bikes don't come stock with that. They're normally going to come stock with your normal rubber lines. But this guy has done a very nice job of putting some nice steel braided lines on, and again getting it to match with the bike. So huge pro on that, huge fan of that. Coming up to the front of the bike, we've got some very nice mirrors. So they look very similar to stock, but they aren't. These guys are actually, they've just got a little bit of a aftermarket paint job on there. As you guys can see, there's just a little bit of a glisten or a little bit of a glitter finish off to them. Very nice. And as I said, they're not stock, but they basically look stock. They're a little bit smaller, so it actually looks even better than the stock mirrors, if you ask me. Not only just overall, but also when you start looking at the finer details like this paint job. So huge fan of that, love it. Next up guys, we've got some nice adjustable shorties. For me, you can never go wrong with shorties. They look absolutely awesome. You know, being able to adjust it to your personal preference. You know, yeah, I love it. I absolutely love shorties. I think they are one of the best things that you can put on your bike, not only to personalize it, but also to get it looking a little bit better. I mean, you can't compare these aftermarket shorties to the likes of the stock levers. It's a night and day difference. These look much better. Then we've got kind of. I say kind of because they don't stick out a lot, but these are bar ends, so those are very nice. It is going to obviously protect a little bit of the bike up front. But on that note, we also have your traditional frame sliders. So if you don't know, these are going to protect your bike if it falls. It's going to keep this safe, and that, and all the nice pretty parts of the bike aren't going to get damaged, because this is going to take all of that damage. And I mean, that's what it's designed for. Now, it's not an adjustment, well, it's not a modification, but it is an adjustment, and you guys will be able to see that the forks have been lowered. So the main thing that's going to do is kind of just prevent the bike from wheeling. Yeah, it's just going to be a little bit more well seated. It's obviously going to change the ergonomics of the bike a little bit. I do find that sitting on this bike, it is a little bit more leaned over, but yeah, we will get onto that when we start talking about the comfort. Next up, guys, is a full system. It's not a full errata system, but it does have built headers. As you guys can see, there's a bit of a blue and purple tint. It is a full titanium system, and we've got a very, very nice errata muffler on there. Again, just with the titanium. You guys can see it over here. It looks absolutely awesome. I love that color, I love that finish, and it actually works very, very well with the bike. It does. The bike complements the exhaust complements the bike. Huge fan of that. We've got some nice simple little rear stand pins, so you can do your chain maintenance and your servicing and all those sorts of wonderful things. We've also got a little bit of an aftermarket rear fender here, pretty much stock. It's just been altered a little bit. Obviously, guys, sticker kit, it's all been changed. I mean, this is not your original Suzuki color stickers. You know, he's got these kind of pinstripe-esque stickers on the bike. I love it. Love it. Again, it's just been done so well. I mean, there's even a clear coat over it, so yeah, that's not coming off. We've got a very nice tank pad over here. I'm a huge fan of these. However, I normally prefer to have them on the side. Makes them a little bit more functional. You know, they actually kind of serve a purpose. Over here, I think it's more so to just protect the paint. Then you guys will see down here that we've actually got a wire running from the shifter. Now, 9 times out of 10, that tells me that there's a quick shifter. However, I rode this bike and it is not quick shifted, so I'm not 100% sure if it is quick shifted. It might be quick shifted, but it might just be turned off. So yeah, we will find out about that and let you guys know. And then yeah, last but not least, we've got a very nice carbon fiber chain slider. Absolutely love it. I'm a huge fan of the carbon accents. I mean, this has just got the one, but the BMW that we have has just got carbon all over the place. I love it. And yeah, there you have it, guys. That's it for your modifications. There's quite a few, but it's not too many to the point where it starts looking like it came from Temu. I think the only thing that I would do to this is get rid of these mirrors, and I would probably put some of the winglet with the integrated indicators. I think those would look absolutely awesome on one of these. Now, I always forget to talk about it, but we do a little bit of a category where we place the bike in either A, B, or C. A being beginner, B being intermediate, and C being you need to have quite a bit of experience to ride the given bike. And today, guys, obviously we are going to be placing this in the category C. So if you have got no experience on bikes, I suggest that you look at something else. We do have a lot of options for you guys. We've got 125s, we've got 300s. You don't need to go and jump the gun and jump on a 1000 as your first bike. Now, in terms of comfort, guys, as I said, the suspension at the front, well, actually not the suspension, but the clip-ons at the front have been lowered. So it is definitely going to provide for a little bit more of a leaned over ride. However, it's not excessive, eh? It's very minimal. It's actually very comfortable. Very comfortable. I have a faint memory of riding this thing. I think I did. Yeah, no, I did ride it. I rode it on the road to test ride it, make sure everything was 100% on it. But it's so subtle that you're really not even going to notice it. Almost no complaints in terms of the comfort department. I did find my neck to be a little bit sore at the end of it, but that was after riding it for about 2 hours, I think. So in terms of comfort, you can't really go wrong with the Suzuki, guys. They are very comfortable bikes, very well designed in terms of the ergonomics, where your feet sit into relation to your hands and all that sort of stuff. I mean, even just looking at it here, if you watched the BMW 1000, you would have seen that the seat is much more on par with the handlebars, and as a result provides for a much more aggressive riding position. But in general, very, very comfy bike, nice and smooth as well, especially the downshifts. Yeah, no complaints. It's a very, very, very comfy bike. Taking, well, for what it is, you know, it's a sport bike. Then moving on to maneuverability, guys. Now, I did notice that the previous 1000 and the 750 and the 600 were a little bit reluctant to get into the corners. Once they are in the corners, they sit so nicely, and coming out of the corners is even better. It's just, yes, it has that resistance, you know, when it's trying to get into the corner, but once it's in the corner, it almost doesn't want to get out of the corner. And yeah, so it's like kind of a catch-22. When you're going into corners, it's not as nice, but when you're coming out of corners, there's no other bike that I've felt, nothing has sat like a GSX-R1000 in the corner. Nothing has felt as stable. So as I said, catch-22, struggles to get into the corners, but on the way out, absolutely phenomenal. In general, very, very similar to the 600s and the 750s. You don't really notice that much of a difference in terms of the handling overall. Obviously, your tires are going to play a role in that. Based off of my experience, I can say it is a maneuverable bike. It's not your GX-14 or your Honda Goldwing. It's maneuverable. However, with that being said, I did find the ZX-10, the CBR 1000, and the BMW S1000 to be a little bit more maneuverable. Alrighty, and last but not least is power. And guys, it's a GSX-R 1000 with a full built titanium exhaust. And you know, do I need to say any more? This bike is absolutely bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. It's, yeah. I wish I could have actually taken it onto a straight and seen how this thing handles, but I can imagine it's pretty crazy, and it's probably so nice and stable with that slightly lowered front end. Very linear power curve, I must say. That power hits early and it stays consistent throughout. It's not like the CBRs where that power is hitting a little bit later. Same story with the R1s. However, with that being said, I did find the ZX-10 to be a little bit more zippy. I think if it came down to a decision of choosing a bike purely based on power, I think I would choose the ZX-10 purely because it just hits a little bit earlier. However, with that being said, the top end is a little bit more chilled out when comparing it to something like this. All in all, guys, as I said, it's a Suzuki. You can't go wrong with a Suzuki. It's cheap to maintain, cheap to repair, runs like a dream. It's probably going to deal with a lot more crap than all these other bikes before it starts, you know, getting angry with you and causing problems. So yeah, at the end of the day, you really can't go wrong with a Suzuki. That's it from me today. If you made it through to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. I hope I was able to answer all your questions, and if I missed anything, drop something in the comment section and I'll get back to you. Yamaha R6, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Let's go and check out that R6 before we wrap things up. Yeah, look at that, boys. Beautiful R6. Probably what, 06, 07, 08, something like that. Yeah, very nice, very, very nice. Keep an eye on the channel, you might get to see that bike. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching if you made it through to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Peace.